This will be a puzzle on how to reflect on your Algebra EOC. So you're going to need something to write with and a highlighter and your Algebra EOC benchmark. And you'll also need this Algebra EOC target sheet. So again, you'll need a highlighter, pencil, your EOC benchmark, and this target sheet. So the first thing you'll need to do, if you haven't already done it, is you will need to grade your Algebra EOC. And what we would like for you to do with that is you'll get an answer key, and I'm about to show it to you, and you will need to mark which answers you got right and which answers you got wrong. On the ones that you got wrong, if you would take the highlighter, and if you don't have a highlighter, if you would box or in the correct answer, and so you know which one is right. So I'm going to start showing you the answers. Let me back it up here. There you go. The item numbers on the left, the correct answer is on the right. There's 1 through 10.
But maybe she has marked items.
There is 11 through 20. Remember, you can pause the video at any point to check your answers. Take some time. There's 21 through 30.
Let me test.
There's 31 through 40. (41 through 50), and then the last few here. So again, you should have taken your test. You should have checked which ones you got right, and you should have boxed the answers that you got wrong. All right, the next step is, now we're going to use this target sheet. You're going to write your name here and the date here, and then you're going to shade in the question numbers that you got correct on the EOC. So when you take the EOC, there's different categories that you have, and over here there's 3 categories on the first page, and on the back you can see that there's 2 additional categories. So these are in not in numerical order, but in order by the categories that we did. So you probably would be easiest just to look for number 13 and see if you got that one right. To look for number 13 and see if you got that one right, and then look for number 17 and see if you got that one right. If you want to, you can start at number 1 and see if you got that one right, and then you could look for number 2, which is on the back. But you can see that you'd be jumping around, so you can choose which way you're going to do it. But what you're going to do is, if you get 13 right, you're going to shade 13 in. Then you're going to look at 17. Oh, I didn't get 17 right, so I'm not going to shade that one in, but I did get 28 right, but I didn't get 41 right. And you're going to continue to do that. So after you've done all of your test, you're going to look at this first section, and you should have 11 questions here. And I'm going to look and I'm going to see how many of these questions I got right. Let's say I got 8 out of the 11 right. I want to figure what that is out of a percent. So you would put it into your calculator as 8 divided by 11. You're going to get a decimal number. And then you're going to look at the first 2 digits after the decimal, and that is your percent. And then you're going to need to do that for each of the each section. And that's going to tell you how well you're doing with each section. So now we know how we did on the test, how we're doing at different parts of the test, and now we're going to do some reflection. So you're going to look at the different categories. These are the categories that are here on the left. How'd you do? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So what is something that you're doing well on? So sometimes you can tell here on certain categories, and you can also look at certain standards. But we might say, oh, I'm doing well on quadratics. And then you might say, oh, I am not doing fabulous over here on writing and solving linear equations, so I definitely want to work on that while I am studying with Miss Joshi and Miss Herman's, writing and solving linear functions, inequalities. So, and then, so I've seen some strengths by my data. I'm seeing something that I need to make sure I'm focusing on when I'm studying for the next few weeks. And then last, I'm just going to see if I can find some examples of what I did on some problems. So I'm just going to look through the test and look for some examples. So I'm going to write the problems below. So here, I'm going to see, can I find an example of a question that I totally guessed on? So I have no idea what I did on this question, so I had to totally guess. So I might say, oh, on number 18, I had no idea. I had to totally guess on that problem. It also could be at the end of the test. 52, totally guessed. I was tired, didn't know what I was doing. Careless here at the end, no evidence. This means that I didn't show my work. If I would have shown my work, or if I would have shown my work, I probably would have got it right. Maybe I did that on number 20. You know, so just give an example. On number 20, I didn't show any work, but if I did, I probably would have got it right. So stop too early meant that I answered one question, but I didn't go far enough. I didn't answer the question that the problem was asking for. So this was a multi-step problem, and I didn't do the second or the third or the fourth step. So that was number 30. So just have to write a problem. And then here on the last one, I mixed stuff up, or vocabulary. Like I was solving an exponential and I should have been solving a quadratic. Or this was an inequality question and I should have been doing an equation problem. Anything like that. So there was a systems here and I should have been shading here, but I was here. That was number 42. And I'm just making these numbers up. I have no idea. So just say, so all you're really doing is this, is giving your teachers an example of numbers that you did these on, so that they can maybe see if there's some trends in the classes on which ones that they're confused on. They might can help with some trends in the classrooms on doing these. So what we just did was we kind of had some self-reflection on how we did on the Algebra EOC. The first thing we did was find which answers we got wrong or right, and we boxed in correct answers on the ones that we got wrong. Then we shaded in the ones we got right on our algebra target sheet here. Then we found a percentage correct for each category. Then we did some reflection on our strengths and weaknesses, what we want to work on for the next few weeks. And then we gave an example of how we guessed, how we didn't show work, but we probably would have got it right had we did. We needed just to go another step, and how we might have got some confused on some vocabulary. So that would be our reflection on our Algebra EOC.